Real News, where we bring you real stories of the ways that God is proving his steadfast love for his people by using the Zion family to reach others for his glory. I'm Hannah Allison.
And I'm your host, Chet Rose. First off, we want to say Happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there. Happy Mother's Day, boo.
Thanks, Pookins. I hope you're going to clean that up for Mother's Day, and I really hope that you and the kids have something quarantastic planned for me.
Yeah, sure we do. Anyways, time's a-wasting. There have been lots of great things happening out there in the three Zion communities. So let's jump right into a big story that happened just this past Sunday.
That's right. As everyone across Zion's three campuses knows, our pastors, tech gurus, and worship teams have been hard at work for several weeks making sure that the Zion flock remains fed, connected, and cared for through our online weekly church services. We believe in deep relationships at Zion, and despite the challenges that the stay-at-home order and social distancing have created for us, our church body remains dedicated to maintaining those connections. In an effort to show some support to our hardworking leaders and online service team, Becca McGuire coordinated a small contingent of ZCC members to surprise our pastors and our tech team after this past Sunday service.
That's right. Becca wanted to be mindful of the bandwidth concerns as well as government orders about group gatherings, so she reached out to about 24 people who snuck to ZCC parking lots just as our pastors began broadcasting. Using masks and social distancing, these families enjoyed the beautiful weather, watched the service on their phones, and then surprised Joe, Steve, and Trent with air horns, car horns, confetti, and heartfelt signs when they walked out of the building. Many of these merrymakers also brought some special treats as a tangible way to show our body's love and appreciation for them. We hope that our leadership team really felt the love because we sure do love them and appreciate the way they continue to find creative ways to navigate obstacles in order to serve all of us on a regular basis.
That's true. It really was a wonderful time, and I was so grateful to be a part of it, not just because it was so good to see our three pastors and some of our D group friends in person, but also because the weather was, as you said, gorgeous. And speaking of that weather, I'm still thinking about that parable of the soil that Pastor Trent shared with us 2 Sundays ago, and about Joe's analogy last week about his horticulture classes and how much Joe's wife loves gardening. And now that it's spring, I am super excited to hear about all of the other Zion families who are planting gardens together. These gardens aren't just a great excuse for people to get outside or save on trips to going to the grocery store. They're also an excellent opportunity for Zion families to selflessly serve one another and their neighbors, and a very good way for us to practice intentional discipleship by using our gardens to relate the growth of our plants to our spiritual growth in Jesus. So if you or your family or you and your neighbors are planting a garden together this spring and you want some ideas for verses that you can share with those that you're discipling and kind of make that a discipleship opportunity, we will be posting some in the comments whenever this video hits Facebook.
I also love that the weather cooperated for that small group of us to gather in the parking lot last week. But one thing that really stood out to me was all the different masks that we saw. I never knew there were so many kinds. Disposable, hand-sewn, ones with fancy linings. And did you see Becca's t-shirt mask?
I did. It was so simple but effective, and she showed me how to make one in less than 5 minutes through her car window with proper social distancing. Then again, she would be an expert on that subject, as would her daughter, Kara Defaba, and their friends Sandy Schick and Missy Poor, and several other women across Zion's campuses who have been hard at work for weeks, making literally hundreds of masks for local healthcare and other essential workers. 2 of Zion's core values are selfless service and open-handed generosity, and these women have been an amazing example of that in our area.
Absolutely. Sandy Schick has made and delivered 112 masks to a nursing home in Brookville, as well as making and shipping surgical caps to her daughter in Virginia so that she can distribute them to her urgent care staff.
What a creative way to spread God's love across state lines without even having to leave the county.
Yeah, absolutely. And Becca and Kara have been showing God's steadfast love to the owner of their favorite fabric shop by making masks as well. The business owner's mother has Alzheimer's, and her usual caretakers have not been able to come because of the COVID shutdown. This has left her with the task of caring for her mother 24/7. Enter Becca McGuire and Kara Deffabaugh, whose efficiency and skill with a sewing machine is basically a superpower. These two have been hard at work demonstrating Zion's core value by sewing over 700 masks to fill the orders for the fabric shop so that the owner can focus on her family. I don't know if the shop owner knows Jesus, but I imagine that after this, she has a pretty good idea of what he looks like.
That is so true. I really wish that I had skills like theirs. You saw the masks that I made for our family. It was like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. One was too big and one was way too small. And the third one was just hideous.
Yes. In other face mask news, yet another act of selfless service. ZCC member and Clarion Limestone technology teacher Mike Bertoni made local news when he used a 3D printer to make 80 mask adapters for the staff of Clarion Hospital. These printed adapters enabled staff members to adjust the straps of their face masks to alleviate ear strain and other uncomfortable side effects of wearing a mask for 8 and 12-hour shifts. That's a real use of the talents God has given to Mike and the position God has put him in to bless those around him. And we salute that.
And speaking of health workers, there are many members of all three of Zion's campuses who have continued to dedicate themselves to the service of others, putting themselves in harm's way to make sure that the sick and the elderly in our area are being taken care of. From nursing home staff to paramedics to dispatchers, doctors, nurses, and x-ray techs, and anything else in the health field, we are proud of the Zion family members who are using their jobs right now to help others more than ever. And we hope that God continues to shine through each of you as you strive to show the love of the great physician to your patients. Zion fam, if you know someone who is working in healthcare or especially in mental health care as well right now, if you could take some time this week to send them a note or a text or give them a call on the phone, like get old-timey and call them on a phone out loud with your mouth words, that would be awesome. Let them know that you're thinking about them and spurring them on to good deeds.
Well, I think that my cup is just about running over after hearing all of these awesome stories.
You know, me too. It is amazing to see how God is still at work in his people, regardless of the challenges that have been thrown at us during this trying time.
Absolutely. It's almost as though the tagline of this show is true. The steadfast love of the Lord endures, no matter what.
Well, of course it's true. It's not just our tagline. It is also a Bible verse, and the Bible doesn't lie.
True that. Let the redeemed say so. Tune in next time for an episode that's filled of stories with people practicing Zion's core values of deep relationships and intentional discipleship.
And as always, if God has been working in you, we want to hear about it. So send your stories to missy@zionlife.com so that they can be featured in a future episode. The steadfast love of the Lord endures, and we never want to stop saying so. I've been Hannah Allison.
And I'm your host, Chet Rose, signing off and asking you to have a quality day.